This is a Sports Catastrophe production. Hey there, Heather Ho there. It's Jeff Taylor Diamond welcoming you to another Sports Catastrophe on this day. And on this day, November 6, 1993, Riddick Bowe and Evander Holyfield were fighting it out for the heavyweight championship of the world. But that was the subplot to what would be a strange event. Anyway, so some context on Bowe Holyfield. These two fighters previously met November 1992. It was one of the greatest heavyweight fights of all time. Both won by unanimous decision to be the undisputed champion. And it wouldn't last long because after beating Holyfield, he would have to take a defense of his newly won titles against Lennox Lewis, the man who beat him at the '88 Olympics, which I talked about a month ago, to get there and all that. Bowe decided to forfeit his WBC title rather than face Lewis, so he threw the belt in the trash, literally. And Lennox Lewis picked it up from the garbage. Bowe would still be the WBA and IBF champion. He took out Michael Dokes and Jesse Ferguson. Holyfield defeated Alex Stewart. And then they announced the fight August 1993 for November 6, 1993. These guys would go the distance. Bowe looked pretty good in the first few rounds, but then rounds 4, 5, 6 happened. And Holyfield came back. So Bowe at 34-0 versus Holyfield 29-1. Guess who the one was against? Obviously. Anyway, Holyfield and Bowe would have an exchange of punches, but unfortunately, that was not the point. In round 7, TV cameras caught some parachuter, some guy with a paraglider. Unfortunately, he crashed onto one of the fight banners outside Caesar's Palace, and he was tangled in the ropes. He was pulled off the ropes by spectators, but beaten to a bloody pulp. The fight would be delayed for 20 minutes. So anyway, Holyfield dominated round 8. Bowe knew he was behind on points, so he needed to do something. And he looked pretty good. In the final round, they attacked each other to the final bell. Holyfield regained the heavyweight championship, becoming the third person ever to do it from the guy who defeated him for it. Ali did it to Michael Spinks. And Floyd Patterson did it to Ingemar Johansson. So he did it. Holyfield won. Well, what? The votes were. American judge Jerry Rolfe said 115-113 Holyfield. Patricia Morse Jarman said 115-114 for Holyfield. And Chuck Yamba scored a tie. So Holyfield won by majority decision. 2 judges voted for Holyfield and 1 voted for a tie. So this was terrible and all that. Well, of course, let's not forget about the Fan Man. Because he would crash in the ring in round 7, causing that thing. Miller was in the hospital after being knocked out by security. He was charged with dangerous flying and paid a $200 bail. And all that. So that was just unbelievable. Well, Fan Man was 30 years old when he did that. He actually died in 2002. So, man. He circled Caesar's Palace for 10 minutes, but the lines of his paraglider tangled in the overhead lights, and then he landed on the top rope of the ring. So anyway, yeah, it was hard to believe in all that. The Fan Man, all that. However, that wasn't the end of Fan Man, because he actually circled above the LA Memorial Coliseum when the Broncos and Raiders took each other on in the playoffs in January '94. He landed in a park north of the Coliseum but was arrested. And then he actually buzzed over a Bolton Arsenal FA Cup match in Bolton. He was in jail for 7 days and actually was deported by British authorities. But that wasn't the end of it. February 5th, he actually paraglided before landing on top of Buckingham Palace. He then removed his pants, saying that, and he was painted green from the waist down. He was again deported. I'm surprised that he got back to the UK somehow. But he was banned from the UK for life after that. Anyway, yeah. Unfortunately, though, Miller, when he came back to the US, he was given death threats. So he would relocate to Valdez, Alaska, operating his computer business. He went through double bypass surgery and had health issues. Because of his medical bills, he had to close his business and move to Anchorage. But March 2003, his decomposing body was found. Well, he was reported missing September 2002, but March 2003, a group of hunters found his body hanging from a tree. Anyway, Miller left a pregnant girlfriend and child. That. The Alaskan press actually reported on this. However, it wasn't well known outside Alaska until SportsCenter wanted to talk to Fan Man for the 10th anniversary of his stunt. What a grisly end. Anyway, as for Fan Man, he actually was in The Simpsons. Well, not the real guy, but yeah, he actually was there in the fight between Shredder Tatum and Homer Simpson in the episode The Homer They Fall, when Homer becomes a boxer and somehow gets a heavyweight title belt. Anyway, Holyfield actually contemplated retirement even though he won, but he wanted a unification match with Lennox Lewis. But the WBA and IBF said that will only happen if you fight Michael Moore. And Holyfield was offered $20 million by Bo's manager to have a rematch, like a tiebreaker fight. Holyfield turned down the offer and went with the match against Moore. Unfortunately, Moore would win by majority decision to be the WBA and IBF champion. And of course, he fell to George Foreman in November '94. So anyway, yeah. Bo and Holyfield would fight November 4th, 1995. And Bo TKO'd Holyfield. So that was the only time Riddick Bowe lost a match. So, yeah. Fan Man aside, it was a good fight. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. I do.